Good morning. Rise and freedom. How's everybody doing? I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. All right, show's over. Everybody go back to bed. Some mornings it's easier than others, isn't it? Don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to the channel if it's your first time here and you end up enjoying the content after a little while hanging out with us. Make some friends, drop some comments. Thank you to Rumble.com for providing us with Rumble Studio so we can multi-stream to several platforms. Let's talk about the big news today. We've got a lot to discuss. The White House refuses to explain why a Parkinsons expert visited the White House 8 times. The press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, is accusing reporters of personal attacks during a very tense briefing, of which, of course, will be one of my billion clips to play for you today. Yes, a billion, trillion Googleplex. Yes, and we also have sharks with frickin' laser beams on them. What's up, Courtney Conover? T-Mill 2022, just 22. Bruce Burtwhistle joining us live from Canada. Cecilia, how you doing, Cecilia? You're breaking my heart. Quest Vanning's here with us. Mighty Megatron. All of the crew, the freedom-loving crew, Real Hunter Human, all the way from Argentina. Very spicy. Nice to see you. Mommy, we are going to miss you. We wish you wouldn't go away to Russia land, but we know that you've got to live your best life. Carpe the hell out of that DM. Guess what I forgot to do? Oh, I'm not going to tell you, but yikes. Completely forgot about that. Just let that one blow right by me. Here's how Joe Biden does the inevitable and withdraws from the presidential race. President Biden's desperate attempts to quell calls for him to end his presidency are not working. Increasing numbers of prominent Democrats are either openly calling for him to step aside or expressing uncertainty when asked if he can beat former President Donald Trump. This shows the game is up. It's no longer a question of if, it's now a matter of when the president will withdraw. Now, politicians, of course, never give up power easily. They've spent their entire lives questing for it. No one gives up their life stream without a struggle, see boomers. But other politicians in similar straits eventually conclude that it's time to go. The idea that a person is a political liability to the party is like a beachhead for an amphibious landing. Once the beachhead is secure, it's only a matter of time before the invading forces press inland to victory. Just ask Richard Nixon or former British Prime Minister Liz Truss, each of whom eventually yielded to the inevitable despite valiant resistance. But Biden's time to crush that beachhead was within the first 48 hours after his disastrous debate performance. He needed to show publicly that he can speak clearly without a teleprompter and then reassure allies privately in person and by phone that he is all right. His utter failure to do so for days led Democrats across the country to one logical conclusion. He isn't doing that because he can't. You'll have to see it. Thank you to the New York Post for that. Let's skip ahead here, but of course, publicly, Joe Biden is very stridently assuring us all that he is in it to win it. Let's hear what he has to say.
Let me say this as clearly as I can. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
Wait a second here. Hold on. Did you hear what I heard there at the very end? Hold on. What was that at the very end?
I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
Okay, so did you hear that at the very end? He'll beat him again in 2020? What are you, going back in time, old man? Gotta get back in time. Boom, boom, boom. Gotta get back in time. Boom, boom. All right, Huey Lewis in the news. It's time to hop in the DeLorean, head back to 2020 when Joe Biden is going to beat him again. It's the Democrats. What's that sound? It's them panicking, running around, screaming. He can't go a day without a gaffe. He'll beat him again
I will
in
beat
2020.
him again in 2020.
Was it 2020 or was it 2029? Karine Jean-Pierre, White House press secretary, not in a good position these days. It's the old Baghdad Bob routine. And of course, what do the Democrats do when they are flailing. They fall back on the whole "this is offensive" meme. Take a listen.
I just want to take a step back for a second, because I do take offense to what Ed alluded to.
Of course you do.
You know, come out here, every day there's a press briefing, and we do our best to give you the information that we have at the time. That's what we do. And we understand that freedom of the press, we respect the freedom of the press. You heard me talk about this last week. I appreciate the back and forth that we all have. It is.
Sure you do.
I try to respect you, and I hope you try to respect me. And we literally do everything that we can. My team does everything that we can to make sure we get the answers to you. That's what we do. And sometimes we disagree. Sometimes we are not in agreement. But you know what? That's democracy. That is what is important, to have that healthy back and forth. And so to say that I'm holding information or allude to anything else is not unfair. It's really, really unfair. I think people who are watching and have been watching this briefing for this past week could say that we are doing our best in this briefing to provide the information that we have. And I will admit, I will be the first one to admit, sometimes I get it wrong. At least I admit that. At least I admit that. And sometimes I don't have the information. And I will always, always admit that. But I do take a...
That's the White House's diversity hire right there for you. And the second diversity hire. First one was Kamala Harris. Oh, come on. Please, guys, calm down. Dr. Sanjay Gupta, a real doctor, unlike Jill Biden. We'll get to that later. Oh, I know. She's a real doctor. Not that kind of doctor. An actual medical doctor, Sanjay Gupta, weighed in on his reaction to the debate on CNN, which is doing real journalism these days, and you'll love to see it. It's hilarious. You know that the Democrats are in trouble when CNN's doing real journalism. I love to see it.
To the debate. What did you think as a doctor? As a doctor?
Well, there was concern, I think, from the go, frankly. First question you asked, I think right away when I watched if it were my dad, there was cause for concern. Stumbling of speech, sort of confused rambling at times, and then also motor symptoms, lack of expression in the face. None of those things are diagnostic of anything. I just want to be clear about that. But in aggregate, they are flags. And I think anybody, and unanimously from the medical professionals I've heard, they would advocate for testing based on what they saw at that debate.
So, yes, they would advocate for testing, but the president has refused such. Some Democrats aren't getting on board with kicking Joe Biden out of the party. Some are circling the wagons, like this Democrat representative, Shantel Brown.
That when the president spoke to governors last week at the White House, he told them, Congresswoman, that he needs to sleep more and work less. If, Congresswoman, if a member of your staff said to you, you know what, Congresswoman Brown, I got to sleep more and work less, you'd fire them, wouldn't you? Or you'd start looking for their replacement, would you not?
Absolutely not. Listen, the fact that the president can admit his shortcomings, I think, is a blessing. I think it demonstrates his integrity. I think it demonstrates his authenticity. And I think it demonstrates how genuine he is when it comes to telling the truth.
We know that when the president spoke.
Yes, he's being very honest about his mental health.
President did that. He called into a couple of black radio stations where he said, among other things, this.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president. I'm proud to be the first black woman in the Supreme Court.
How dare you? Hold on, are we hearing this correctly here for a second? It's there's just so much we could do. Hold on. What did he say here? By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman to serve with a black president. Now, wait a minute. I was told reliably back in the early 1990s at Raymore Peculiar High School, Mr. Gunter's current affairs class, honors class, by the way. I'm pretty sure I got an AP credit. Maybe pretty sure, but not 100% sure. I'm like Joe Biden, sure. That it was Bill Clinton that was our country's first president. Remember, Slick Willie? maybe Joe Biden misspoke, and he's the first black woman president. So we've already had the first black president, which was Bill Clinton. And then we had our first gay president with Obama. But my brother thinks that we already had that James Buchanan was gay. So Obama was the second gay president. And then Joe Biden was the first black woman president. Oh my God. See, it used to be, I remember back in high school, I think even in Ed Gunter's current affairs class, we actually, if I can remember correctly, we used to watch presidential bloopers in that class. You know, he would pull out South Park. We would watch So I Married an Axe Murderer in that class. We would read the Wall Street Journal and the news each day. And I remember him playing a clip, a video. Like, remember you used to have to put the black video tape in the VCR, and they would the teachers in school would like wheel out the cart that had the big tube TV on it, and then you would watch videos that day. But I'm pretty sure that we watched presidential bloopers, and we were all laughing at things like, I don't know, this would have been like George Bush saying, you know, about Ronald Reagan that we've had some some setbacks, Gerald Ford, or God damn it, what was the president's name? I'm pulling a Joe Biden here. The one who Jimmy Carter, you know, falling down Air Force One steps. And it was rare to see things like that because we didn't have cameras everywhere. It wasn't quite as ubiquitous as it is now, where everything the president does is completely scrutinized and on camera in public. So maybe we're seeing a lot more of this these days and hearing a lot more of this just because of the ubiquitousness of the media these days. But still, because of the pattern that Joe Biden is falling in, these kinds of gaffes, like, I'm proud to be the first black woman president. I mean, on a black radio station, nonetheless. I mean, how much better can it get?
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president. I'm proud of the role of the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much.
Kill the Rock reminds us that in this day and age, you can't identify as anything. Exactly. First black woman.
That we can do, because together there's nothing. Look, this is the United States of America.
This is the United States of America. And as you said, we can be anything that we want. Good morning. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm your host, Austin Peterson, streaming live from Jefferson City, Missouri, the capital of Missouri, the capital of your heart. And if you're enjoying the show this morning, make sure that you click that like button. And if it's your first time here watching the Wake Up America show and you're enjoying that content, don't forget to click the follow button as well. I see that I got a $5 word score from my friend Chamilia Peterson. Thank you. Thank you. It looks like my old pal Stephen Ruse in the chat. Yes, we watched The Daily Show for sure, back when it was funny. Chamilia will be on the show today at 8 a.m. Central Time. We're going to talk to her a little bit about some of the drama in the Missouri State Republican Party about the platform fight, and the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee that's meeting now adopted Donald Trump's platform. I'm going to go through that here in a little bit. We're going to talk to Chamilia about that, as well as some of the local political intrigue. If you guys are into Missouri political intrigue, it'll be interesting to you. If it's not, I'll try and make it as applicable to people that are national and international who like to watch the Wake Up America show. At 8:30 a.m. Central Time, I'm excited to talk to my good friend, Dr. Bob Onder, who yesterday was endorsed by President Donald Trump for his primary here in mid-Missouri. So he would be my congressman if he wins his primary in the general election this fall. I've known Dr. Bob for years. He was a hero during the pandemic, fighting against COVID tyranny and pandemic restrictions here in the state of Missouri, as well as a background as a state senator here in Missouri, a doctor, a lawyer, Indian chief, does a little bit of everything. And it's so rare that I get to go to the ballot box and vote for someone that I actually like. Typically, I don't like any politicians, and very rarely do I have ones that I can say, yes, I actually do trust this person. Tony Lavasco would probably meet that definition, and Dr. Bob Onder would be another one. And he's running for Congress here in the congressional district that I live in, which stretches from the Lake of the Ozarks up all the way to Columbia and then over to St. Charles, Missouri. So that's gerrymandering for you, but what have you. He's going to be a massive improvement from the congressman that we have right now, because Dr. Bob Onder really is a true limited government conservative. And I imagine he's going to be voting against a lot of spending bills And I'm excited to talk to him this morning at 8:30 a.m. Central Time about his endorsement from Donald Trump. Sometimes Donald Trump gets those endorsements wrong. Sometimes Donald Trump nails the endorsements. This is the latter. He definitely nailed this endorsement, and I'm excited to hear what Dr. Bob has to say about it and how much this is going to change the outcome, hopefully, of the primary. Democrat Representative Stephen Horsford says that questioning Biden's stop, Austin. Questioning that obvious cognitive decline is, quote, ageism and ableism.
70% of voters think that President Biden is not demonstrating the capacity to be president. 56% of Democrats say that they would be better off with another nominee. Those are the concerns that I'm talking about that are showing up in the numbers and that are affecting his approval rating.
What I find interesting is that issue is more around ageism and ableism and not what this President Biden has.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm an ageist and an ableist. When it comes to the person who flies my plane, when it comes to the person who is making my meals, I want them to be able. Okay, when it comes to the person, if you saw somebody who was in Joe Biden's state, and they were going to get behind the wheel or the yoke of a 737 Boeing airliner, would you get on that plane? Would you get on that airplane? Somebody like that? I don't think you would. You wouldn't, right? Well, you ableist? What, you only want to hire people to do jobs that are capable of doing jobs that are life or death? We're not talking. Joe Biden isn't running an ice cream factory here, but even in that kind of situation, I wouldn't trust him to run the ice cream factory. I mean, at this point in time, Joe Biden needs to be thinking about retirement. But listen, I don't want to get, it's not all boomers who are like this, but it's like this clawing on, holding on to these positions and these power and things like that. And it's like, and I know you don't like it that the young bucks and people are like, oh, let us take over, let us handle things and all this kind of stuff. But it's like, at some point, Grandpa, at some point, Grandma, you got to let us handle things for you, right? I mean, how many times? I can't tell you how many times I've almost gotten run over in the Hy-Vee parking lot because Grandma didn't bother to look in her rearview mirror or turn around. Imagine if it wasn't me. Imagine if it was my daughter or my wife. She's 9 months, 2 weeks pregnant at this point, or 9 months, 1 week pregnant, right? Like she doesn't move so fast. I mean, this was not too long ago that like I'm just like boom, somebody's slamming into me in the parking lot. And here's the thing: they didn't slam into me and then know that they slammed into me. They just kept going. She had no idea, right? And she was she had like the Joe Biden look as I saw her driving away. What you're gonna tell me that it's not a good idea to maybe to retest that person? I'm not saying that we need driver's licenses in total, as many of you know how I feel. But I mean, if this is what you sound like.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to excuse me.
Yeah, if that's what you sound like, then perhaps it might be time for a test of one's cerebral fitness. Bangkok, Oriental City. Creme of the creme in the chess world, and a show with everything but Yul Brynner.
They're saying President Biden is going to host a press conference on Thursday afternoon. All that they'll tell us is that it's going to be more than the traditional 2 questions when foreign leaders are in town. They are describing it at the White House as a big boy press conference. Neil.
A big boy press conference seems to imply that he's going to take more than just a couple of questions. And the pressure would be on him because it would only be him answering.
Well, one way to stop getting people to focus on him being 81 and possibly having issues with his acuity is just to call him a big boy. White House officials are...
Good stuff, Deucey. Good morning. The queens we use would not excite you. Yes, Clementine, one night in Bangkok and the world's your oyster. But the gods ain't free. I can feel an angel sliding up to me. You can text the show today at 573-319-1586. 573-319-1586, like one listener just did, about the radio host who interviewed Biden, leaves the station after admitting the campaign aides gave her pre-selected questions. Well, thank you for texting that to us. We're friends. We did definitely cover that subject yesterday, but it is an interesting subject, and I'm glad that you're keeping an eye on things. You can text the show, too, at 573-319-1586. Again, that's 573-319-1586. I'm going to take a real quick little break here. We have raised $46 towards the $60 goal, thanks to Cecilia and, and Courtney Conover. $46 towards the $6 goal. So if you want to see the bonus content today, get those Rumble Rant donations in or head to forlibertyshop.com. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America Show, wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Cantina Group. This is Elon Musk, the CEO of Twitter, and I just want to say thank you for watching the Wake Up America Show. I've decided that Austin Peterson will be the new CEO of Twitter.com, effective immediately. First thing you do, though, is I've got to go and blast off into space.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty.
It was 1946. A battle was fought, not overseas, but right here on American soil. The Battle of Athens, an intense struggle against election fraud and for the rights promised by our founding fathers. Driven by the Second Amendment, ordinary citizens stood tall and fought back. Help us expose this momentous battle of integrity and bravery. Your support can make a difference. Visit GiveSendGo.com/BleedAmerican and pledge your support, because we believe in the power of truth, the strength of unity, and the spirit of we the people. Let us not forget, we bleed American.
A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is...
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apeforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apeforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit aporlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.
Welcome back to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. It's time to rise and freedom. Broadcasting from Jefferson City, Missouri, we are live in your hearts and in your minds. Click that like button. We'd love to have you be a regular guest on the Wake Up America show. It's a 5-day a week, 2 hours in the morning, live stream. It's a freedom extravaganza, and if you would join us regularly, we'd love to make your acquaintance. Drop a comment in the Rumble chat or send us a text at 573-319-1586. This show is almost 2 years old. It's kind of exciting. I love to see our audience growing every single day. The Wake Up America show continues to grow. I have been signing contracts like you would not believe. All kinds of new deals that are going to include the brand new addition to our lineup of 2 brand new shows coming soon. Oh yeah, we've signed the deal. Now we have to deliver. I've got 2 brand new shows that are be coming with the launch of a brand new libertarian network, a free market ideas network. We're bootstrapping it, but without sponsors and supporters like yourself, we never could have done it. For the last 2 years, I've been coming in here early on in the mornings. I started out in the bar, some of you might remember, worked my way up into the TV studio, and now here we are. Not only are we going to have the Wake Up America show, but we're going to have 2 other brand new shows that you'll be able to watch. Live shows happening during the week for sharing the ideas of economic freedom and personal liberties. So you don't have to look at just my old face there every single day. There you go. Cecilia says that thank AP for Liberty for making mugs with the founding flavors picks. Yes, we did that. Stephanie did that for you. I want to give her all the credit for that because she did that this weekend. She's sitting there 9 months pregnant, big old belly. And she's like, is there anything that you need for me to do for you, darling? And I was like, sweetheart, would you please make the founding flavors coffee mugs that people have been asking for weeks? And she's like, of course, darling. And anybody, if they could see that scene, would have been like,
How dare you?
Asking your 9 months pregnant wife to do all this work for you. And I'm just like, she wants to do it. She loves to do it. And quite frankly, America
is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
Yes.
I was going to excuse me.
Downloading the bonus content. Since you guys went ahead and unlocked the bonus content, that means that you get to watch the bonus content. So kudos and congratulations to you. This week's theme is Supreme Court decisions that change the course of American history. Today's Korematsu versus the United States. Hope you enjoy. Wake Up America. Welcome back to the Wake Up America show. I hope you enjoyed that bonus content, that mini documentary that you unlocked about Korematsu versus the United States, the Supreme Court decision regarding the internment of Japanese ethnics in the United States during World War II. Those mini documentaries have helped us to fuel the Wake Up America show, to keep us in business, the lights on around here, as well as all of those purchases that you keep making at forlibertyshop.com. I am grateful to all of you. Thank you, Urs Mommy. Thank you, Cecilia. Thank you, Quest Fanning, Courtney Conover, and so many others who have helped us to keep the lights on around here for almost 2 years now. Working for myself, being able to spend the time producing content for you every day as a full-time job has just been an absolute dream. What do you guys say? Should we keep us around for another 2 years? How about it? It's a fun job. It's a lot of work, but it's a fun job. If you haven't liked the stream already, like my smoking hot redheaded libertarian pregnant wifey, Steffi P, make sure you do that now. And of course, follow if it's your first time watching us. We'd be glad to have you join us as a regular guest Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. Karine Jean-Pierre refusing to confirm why a Parkinson's expert was at the White House. Take a listen.
There are thousands within the Walter Reed system who may be treated by specialists who visit here at the White House. But this neurologist had a meeting with the president's physician, with his doctor. You're refusing to say if he was here to evaluate the president or if he was consulting on the president's health. So what then was that meeting about?
And I will say that Dr. O'Connor leads the medical unit. He leads the medical unit. No, because we will not confirm or speak to names that you're providing to me. It is out of security reason, is out of protecting someone's privacy. We're just not going to do that. But they are.
The president doesn't have the kind of privacy that a private citizen does. He's public property.
The reason that I mention that is because there are 1,000 military members that do indeed use the White House medical unit. They do. They get care from that.
We're talking about the president of the United States.
Guys, I'm trying to answer the question so you can connect the dot that there are multiple neurologists.
But we aren't talking about the members of the military that are using the White House medical unit. We're talking about the president of the United States using whether or not he was using a Parkinson's specialist at the White House. We deserve to know this.
Specialists that come through here because there are more than 1,000 medical military personnel here.
But you certainly could clear this all up just by saying what he was doing here and if it was connected to the president. Yes or no?
I am not going to confirm a particular neurologist, anybody. It doesn't matter if they're a dermatologist or a neurologist. I'm just not going to do that. I shared with all of you that the president has been with the neurologist 3 times. As it relates to his physical, 3 times. So, I'm just not going to do that out of security reasons, out of privacy. It is not something that I'm going to do. A measure of privacy, we have to be able to.
Yeah, they need privacy to protect him, to get him through the primary. Well, yeah, he's still got to get through the primary.
Really easy way to put this in the rearview mirror. Release all your health information and do a 2-hour press conference.
Can you believe this is CNN saying this? CNN saying
really easy way to put this in the rearview mirror. Release all your health information and do a 2-hour press conference that shows that you completely are agile and the same guy that was doing these debates ably in 2019 and 2020. What does it say to you that they haven't done either of those? Really easy way.
What does it say to you? Nothing to see here. James Carville, he's always good for a laugh. His wife, Mary Madeline, endorsed me for president of the United States in 2016, which I find fascinating.
I don't predict things. I'm just telling you, it's inevitable. He will come to the conclusion. People will get the message to him. He will understand. His family will understand. They'll pray on it and they'll make the right decision. I don't have any doubt about it, but while we dilly-dallying around here, somebody's got to think of where we go from here. And that's what I'm trying to say in the time.
Listen, I think you're right. I think your party went down the wrong road and they went a long way down it. And now they...
Your party, Mr. Cuomo.
Got to figure out a new course. Do you think Clinton and Obama would agree with your idea in the New York Times today for them to drive a town hall, a series of town halls?
Better to ask for.
Yes, please send Joe Biden on a series of town halls. Good idea.
I just throw an idea out there. All right, didn't everybody? I'm just trying to stimulate what we're doing right now, to have a conversation about the future, and a future without a criminal president and a criminal Supreme Court. We have a criminal Supreme Court now. We had a criminal president. We might have one back. I want to stop that. If the best I can.
Just for the people at home, James wrote a piece today, you can read it in the Times, where he says Obama and Clinton hold a series of town halls and they pick who gets to participate and vet the ideas in the different regions of the country so that by the time you're into the convention, everybody's seen everybody and you can have a good vetting process and come out with a new ticket. If you
Obama and Hillary, this is the suggestion by James Carville. He's kind of a crackpot these days. But is to have Obama and Hillary vet the candidates, or Bill Clinton vet the candidates of who they should have to replace Joe Biden. God, I love this stuff. It's so good. This is Democrat Jamie Raskin in 2017 claiming Trump was mentally unfit for office. He proposed setting up a permanent office to evaluate the mental and physical health of all presidents. But what is he saying these days?
Set up a permanent body, not just for this presidency, but for all presidencies to come. The physical health of the president, the mental health of the president is something of fundamental importance to the national security of the country and the continuing effectiveness of the government. So I think that, some of the current events have concentrated our mind on the problem, but we need to set this up as a matter of institutional responsibility as Congress.
A lot of people see his age as, something that helps explain some of his wisdom and some of his compassion, the kind of compassion you see not just within his family, but outside of it. That compassion for people in his family, which is real and authentic, becomes solidarity for everybody in the country who's struggling, as well as for people around the world.
Is the Wake Up America show entertaining? Yes. Is it informative? Also, yes. Because here's the thing. We're going to have a lot of fun when we do the Wake Up America show. It's going to happen, right? Look at those ridiculous shirts that I wear and all the crazy graphics and all this kind of stuff, right? We're going to have a lot of fun here. But I'm going to make sure every day that you're hearing and seeing the truth of what's really going on, right? You're not just going to get the clip of Jamie Raskin saying one thing, right? And then my opinion on it. You're going to get the clips of him saying one thing, the politicians saying one thing out of one side of their mouth, and then what they're saying talking out of the other side of their mouth, right? You're going to hear both sides of things, right? I'm going to show you the hypocrisy so that you're aware of it. And yeah, you're going to hear my opinion, right? But of course, I'd love to hear your opinion too. You can always text the show, and I'm always listening night or day. 573-319-1586 is the text line. You should be able to see that on your screen right now. Yes, my hand is actually floating above it. And I listen to you guys. I do. I want to hear what you guys are thinking about how the show is going, what content you like, maybe what you don't like, guests that you like, maybe guests that you would like to see on the show. And this isn't just for the live audience. It's also for people who listen to the audio podcast version later and want to communicate. You can send us a text to 573-319-1586. And if you're asking yourself, Austin, why do you keep repeating the phone number? It's on the screen. Some people are listening to the show and they don't have the pleasure of being able to see it up there on the screen. So that's why I do that. Okay. Whoopi Goldberg says she'd still vote for Biden even if he poops his pants.
I have my 2 cents because I wasn't here on the day that y'all talked about it. I don't care if he's pooped his pants. I don't care if he can't put a sentence together. Show me he can't do the job, and then I'll say, okay, maybe it's time to go. Now, he had a bad night the first time that he went out and debated with Kamala Harris. And everybody wanted him to quit then, say you can't talk to women like this, or you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. He came back, said, you know what, I got it, and gave 4 years. So, yeah, I have poopy days all the time. I step in so much poo you can't even imagine.
We've got a clip of her stepping in poo in just a second.
Now, I'm not running the world, but I don't know anybody who doesn't step in stuff at some point. So I'm just simply saying, yeah, there are 2 debates. And if he can't do what he needs to do for the second debate, I'll join any crew that says get rid of him. But loyalty to me, if you are doing the job, I might not like everything you're doing. I don't like it all. But I'm going to stand behind you like those guys stand behind the guy who should.
It's vote blue no matter who. Speaking of her stepping in poo, listen to this.
Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. His wife.
Yeah,
Joe Biden's wife, because he would never do it, but she's a hell of a doctor. She's an amazing doctor.
I thought she was a doctor and
PhD.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
I thought she was.
Yeah, I think
she's a teacher, but
Wait a minute. She's a hell of a doctor. She's an amazing doctor. She's not just a hell of a doctor. She's an amazing doctor. But Joy Behar had to correct her. She's PhD. She's not a medical doctor. God, I love this clip. One more time.
Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. His wife. Because Joe Biden's wife, because she, he would never do it, but she's a hell of a doctor. She's an amazing doctor.
I thought she was a doctor and
PhD.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
I think she's a teacher, but
she's a teacher.
America's a nation.
Oh shoot, wrong button. Guys, are we having fun yet? Jeez, this is funny stuff. This clip is completely out of context of what we're talking about, but I just love it so much. Senator Katie Britt, remember she was the one who did the response to the State of the Union. It was kind of weird. Anyways, she handled this Democrat who approached her. You can tell, you know how you can tell a Democrat? Look at this right here. Look at the physiognomy here, right? The unkempt hair, the 1989 mom glasses, and the giant buck teeth. Right here, couldn't afford braces or just didn't get them because they were a sign of oppression and the patriarchy, right? Her teeth needed to be free to be a woman or whatever. And here she is trying to ambush Katie Britt. This clip, and watch how Katie Britt handles this with aplomb.
Hi, I'm here with the Congresswoman. I was wondering how much money it would take to buy you back from Big Oil.
From Big Oil?
Yeah.
Oh, look at how dishonest that was. You asked if you could take a selfie, and now you're asking questions. And tell me, what do you think that Big Oil? Talk to me about that.
I think that the climate crisis is here and getting worse, and you're being funded by the people who are making that happen.
Listen, we've got to be not only energy independent, but energy dominant. We do it better than anybody.
Hi, I'm here with the Congresswoman. I was wondering how much money it would take.
That was a beautiful and brilliant response. Didn't tell her to kiss her ass. She didn't freak out on her. She just shut her down, nice and cold. I love as the elevator is closing. She's
I think that the climate crisis is here and getting worse, and you're being funded by the people who are making that happen.
Listen, we've got to be not only energy independent, but energy dominant. We do it better than anybody.
Oh, we do it better than anybody. Thank you, Katie. Had some points with me there. That was very well done. The Republican National Convention meeting in Milwaukee this week passed the platform that Donald Trump handed them. They bought it hook, line, and sinker. Some people were upset at how the platform was handled. We're going to talk to Chamilia about that in about 10 minutes. But one RNC platform committee member is upset about the amendment process that was handled at the RNC. Take a listen to what she has to say.
There were no phones. Was there any debate? How unusual was this year?
It's never happened before. Like I said, I've done this several times. There was no committees. We always had subcommittees where we can go in and work on a section of the platform. We can propose amendments, debate them, add them. Always happens. I've done it many times. And then it would usually take today, and then tomorrow we would come back and meet as the complete platform, and sometimes there'd be more amendments. They didn't allow any amendments. They didn't allow any discussion. They rolled us. That's what they did. We spent thousands of dollars to be here, and everything they told us they were going to do isn't what happened.
It's quite common for you to hear on, this is a very online discussion, for people to say, oh, women shouldn't be in politics. There are a lot of very bored women in politics, and they spend lots of time and energy and money working on things in politics that don't really change the outcome of anything for anyone. Platform fights are sort of a thing, right? There's a lot of women like that. And I'm sure she's probably a wonderful lady, grandmother, loves her country, wants to change things for the better, right? And a lot of times parties will take their activists like that and they will, just give them up the platform to let them do kind of whatever they want. And a lot of people do fight tooth and nail for platforms. The very first platform fight that I ever saw was back in 2008 when I first got involved in politics. This is the Libertarian National Convention in 2008 in Las Vegas, the year that Bob Barr was nominated. And it was such a curious thing. If you've never been to like a national convention or even a state convention for a party, if you ever get a chance to do that and see what it's like, I highly recommend you do it, because to some extent, that's where the sausage gets made. And to another extent, it's a gigantic, enormous waste of time to give crazy people who have way too much time on their hands the opportunity to be seen and to be heard and to make everyone else miserable. They take it way too seriously and they burn every bridge that they have so that they can control a document that 99.9% of people on this planet are never going to read. And the thing about the platform is that, it does. The people who are in power, people in charge, congressmen, a lot of times they don't even read the platforms, right? They don't even read it. And I actually like the way that this platform came out because it's so simple. The Republican Party's platform, Donald Trump's people basically put together their own platform, gave it to the RNC, and the RNC just like, boom, passed it, right? And this lady is upset because they just steamrolled the activists who have been around for years and who have been fighting these platform fights for years about the future of the party. And now conservatives are mad because the platform used to mention God 24 times and now it only mentions God twice. And there's nothing in there that talks about abortion, despite the fact that we just won massively on abortion in the last couple of years. Seal the border, stop the migrant invasion, carry out the largest deportation in American history, end inflation, make America affordable again, make America the dominant energy producer in the world, stop outsourcing, turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower, large tax cuts for workers, no tax on tips, defend our Constitution, prevent World War III, end the weaponization of government against the American people, stop the migrant crime epidemic, rebuild our cities, strengthen and modernize our military, keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency, fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no changes to the retirement age, cancel the electric vehicle mandate, cut regulations, cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, keep men out of women's sports, deport pro-Hamas radicals, secure our elections, and unite our country by bringing it to new records of success. Honestly, pretty damn good. Because you're not going to get everything that you want. And a platform just tells people generally what a group of people thought at a certain point of time. But the reality is that the candidates are the ones who make the decisions, right? And the candidates aren't there to serve. Here's what I think a lot of platform people don't understand. The country is not here to serve you. Let me repeat that. The country, let me get a little closer in the camera. We don't serve you. And we don't serve our representatives. Okay? We don't serve the government, right? We don't serve the parties, right? The party can say whatever it wants. Parties can say whatever they want, okay? But the candidates are elected by we the people, right? And we the people don't give a shit what somebody wrote down on a piece of paper because grandma had a little bit too much time on her hands. So she went and spent thousands of dollars so that she could go and say God 24 times on a piece of paper, right? That's not what this country's about, all right? This country's not about what the political parties think on a piece of paper, right? As much as there's a lot of great stuff in this platform, it doesn't matter. You know what matters is the people that we elect, our representatives, and we the people, not we the party, we the people. Right? We're going to vote for candidates and representatives to do the business of the people and what's good for all of the people in their districts, not just one narrow political party. These people become deranged over these platform fights. They are. They become deranged. I've been involved in platform fights. I've seen it, back and forth. And I'll tell you, it is a gigantic waste of time. A gigantic waste of time. And it's mostly controlled by old crones who are nanny state nattering nabobs of negativity, who are moral busybodies, and they have nothing to do with their lives other than try and find a way to manage the lives of other people. That is what their full-time job is, right? They raise their kids are gone and raised up, their kids moved away to 7 states over to get away from them, because they can't stand the fact that grandma will not leave them alone. Grandma will not stop telling them how to live their lives. She can't stop. She won't stop. So because she can't control the lives of the people in her immediate vicinity, she has to move to the party to try and act like she has a voice. And then the people who are in charge see the crazy crones and they go, okay, yeah, go ahead. You'd spend all of your time and energy and money and waste it all trying to influence rather than like lobbying, which might actually go and influence an actual politician to do something, right? You must obey the platform, 100% obey the platform. It's not the Bible, lady. It's not the written word of God. It's written by men, right? Fallible men and very fallible women, right? Old crones who have nothing better to do than tell other people what to do. I think the Trump platform is pretty damn good. And the fact that a lot of like conservatives are mad about it is probably a good sign. Trump has never caved to the hardcore authoritarian right. And that's why libertarian Republicans like myself kind of like it, because most of this stuff is pretty mind your own business. Now, some of it's FDR loving bull crap, but what do you expect? He's trying to win an election, right? And we'll talk about it. We're going to talk about it with Chamilia, who is not a nattering nabob of negativity. She's a lovely princess of liberty, and she's going to be joining us in just a few moments to talk about the Republican Party platform. Then we got Dr. Bob Onder at 8:30 a.m. Central. He's running for office so he can actually make a difference and not waste all of his time and energy on stupid platform fights. Who cares? And I know this is going to come back to bite me in the ass someday. You don't care about the platform. You don't care about the platform. Get out of my face, old lady. Here, just eat that and leave us alone. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Wake Up America never could. Black justified the military's decision, stating Korematsu was excluded due to war with the Japanese. Good morning. Rise and freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Click that like button. If it's your first time here watching the Wake Up America Show, you know what to do. Click the follow button so you can find us so much more easily and watch us regularly. Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time is the show's schedule. We'd love to have you join us 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Okay, cool. The Republican Party platform has been dropped. Capitalization, errors, and all. It's got some good stuff. It's got some bad stuff. Let's talk about it with our good friend, Chamilia Peterson, who's knocking doors, winning hearts and minds every day during this Republican primary. Good morning, Chamilia.
Good morning from Marshall, Missouri.
Marshall, Missouri. Well, we're glad to have you here with us, Chamilia. I know you're on the road and you guys have been very busy and you're certainly getting your steps in. So we're thankful that we get you to pick your brain a little bit on what's happening in the world of politics. I've been in politics now for 20 years. I saw my very first floor fight for a platform in 2008. People ready to strangle each other. I mean, burning every bridge that they have over a piece of paper that 99.9% of people on this planet will never read and doesn't really impact anything. But if you don't support it 100%, then you're a rhino and not a real Republican. Broad overview, the Republican Party platform. Who passed it? Where did it come from? And what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, it's kind of a larger version of the state level here. So you have a platform committee that is put together, and that's, part of the party structure. They come up with the proposal. This is, what we saw released yesterday technically is a draft platform. It still has to be approved at the General Convention, which is in another week, I guess. And so is it going to pass? Of course it is. The delegates will come together and they will definitely rubber stamp it. There might be a few people who try to change some things, although it will be interesting to see whether or not there's much pushback, as we've seen online, about the issues of abortion and gay marriage, because I kept seeing, I'm driving yesterday, I kept seeing these things pop up about Jenna Ellis, and was one of the people, and she kept talking about how that she was done with the Republican Party because they were soft pedaling and backtracking on gay marriage and abortion. And I was like, what is she talking about in this platform? And so I went and read it, and I still am not really sure what she's talking about, unless it just wasn't specific enough for her, because I didn't see anything that contradicted either one of those stances.
Well, I've got the platform pulled up. There's the broad overview, the full platform, and then I've got the pared down version of it, which makes it pretty simple. We've got 20 points to go through, and we don't have a whole lot of time.
So can I tell you something real quick?
Yeah.
So yesterday, or whenever it was that first came out, there's like breaking news, and that initial list of however many it is, that real brief list. Mm-hmm. I saw that and I actually thought that that was probably a joke because of the way it was written. It's not a joke. Anyway, carry on.
No, not a joke. And speaking of not a joke, I'm excited to have Dr. Bob Onder joining us here on the show right after you. He got the Donald Trump endorsement, which is very good. Sometimes he gets it very wrong, but today, this one he got very right. As we know, Dr. Bob is the real conservative in that race.
I think it will help. I think it will help Onder because it's in Missouri. But I would just remind people when they get very excited about Trump's endorsements, he has about a 50% success rate on endorsements. So sometimes you have to be careful.
No, I know. And I hope he doesn't take anything for granted, but we'll get a breakdown from him on that in about 25 minutes. So brand new 2024 RNC. This is the Trump platform. So basically the Trump campaign gave this to the RNC and they steamrolled all the old ladies who love to spend all of their time and energy and money in fighting the platform fight. And they kind of walked out of there kind of like bow-legged, like, ouch, what happened? But number one, what do we have to argue about here? Seal the border and stop the migrant invasion. I mean, pretty cut and dry. I think most Republicans agree.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's anything to quibble with on this. I think the need for that has become blatantly obvious. Like we need a word stronger than blatantly. I mean, it just has to happen.
Yeah, we need border security. And I say that as somebody who thinks that our immigration system is broken and that we need, simpler, clearer ways to legal immigration in this country. I'm not one of those people who says we need to stop it all completely. So I think that, but, we definitely need to have the border under control for national security reasons. Carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. So he's trying to beat Obama's numbers because, as we all remember, Donald Trump did deport fewer illegals than Barack Obama. So he's trying to beat Obama's record there, right?
Right. That's true. Yeah. I mean, I think that's always challenging in how you do it, but absolutely true that Obama deported more than Trump did.
I wonder why that is. It's funny because it's things like that always, like the quirks of politics. Democrats talk about open borders and then deport more than Republicans. And then Republicans talk about deportations and then they're extremely lenient. It's kind of like when it comes to the Second Amendment, Republicans always talk about protecting the Second Amendment, but they're the ones who manage to pass like red flag laws and legislation. And then Democrats are the opposite. It's just such a weird scenario that we always find ourselves in.
And part of me wonders if it doesn't have something to do with whether or not the government agencies were just running efficiently under Trump. Because I don't know, were they? I mean, maybe they weren't deporting as many people because the agencies weren't operating as efficiently. I don't know.
Oh, great. Good point there. Good point. Yeah, for sure. Next item on this platform that we're looking at here is inflation. Stop inflation, bring it down. I think everybody agrees with that.
Sure. I think it's a matter of how you do it, but I do think that a lot of the things they talk about through the platform, when you talk about deregulations and, cutting all of the red tape on businesses, I think a lot of the things that are sort of spelled out, throughout the platform that will help with that.
We're talking about the Republican Party's platform, the Trump platform, 2024 RNC Trump platform, number 4, make America the dominant energy producer in the world. Completely uncontroversial, unless you're a climate cultist leftist, right? All Republicans were pretty much on board there.
Yeah, no, that's 100%.
Number 5, stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. This one I think we quibble with. I mean, it'd be great if we could have more manufacturing jobs here in the United States, but it all is about how we do it, right? I mean, right. I love my Donald Trump tie, but it was manufactured in China.
Sure. I mean, in rhetoric, it sounds good, but the reality is that when you look back at like the steel and aluminum tariffs, they did not have that effect at all. In fact, I think they had the opposite effect. I don't recall the numbers. I had it up, but there are numbers for, when you look back at those tariffs, what it actually cost us. It tells you, there's a report that tells you like how many jobs those supposedly saved, but the amount that it cost us per job was astronomical. I mean, it was insane. So yeah, there's double-edged sword there. I don't know how much that'll actually work.
Right. And I wish Trump would just say, be honest, stop saying that like, China is going to pay the tariffs and things like that. It's kind of like, Yeah, that's us that pays the tariffs and stuff. It's like when Mexico, he's going to
You
build the wall and
know.
make Mexico pay for it. I think it's more of an applause line than it is like actual policy.
Well, farmland China.
Yeah, that stuff here in
It
Missouri is
is the
just
thing.
it's for like the low IQs, you know what I mean, to make them China's why I'm poor and stupid. Number 6, good stuff. Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. He deserves a big applause for that one. I think that's a good platform edition, big time.
Sure. I think it's a little weird that there's that very specific no tax on tips thing that's in there, but it's fine. I would like to see us just, have reduced taxes across the board for everybody and not just, keep nickel and diming, different worker groups. But
yeah. And I want to remind anybody who's tuning into the show that we are working off of a brief version of the Republican Party platform. There is a much longer version of the Republican Party platform that you can go through, and I'll drop a link in the chat after this, so you can read the whole thing and understand what we're the longer discussion that there is around this.
And when you say longer, it's actually really not that long. I think it's a sum total of 16 pages.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's broken down, even under the headings that we're talking about, it's broken down into fairly brief sections that are easy to read. So it'd be a good idea for anybody to read it.
Yeah, agreed. Looks like we got a feature on the front page of rumble.com. Hey, everybody, nice to meet y'all. I know many of you are here for the first time. So if you do enjoy these discussions and chat, make sure you click the like button and don't forget to follow the stream so you can join us for our regular schedule. We are 5 days a week here, 2 hours in the morning, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time is the show's schedule. So come back and join us again tomorrow morning. All right, next we're going through the Republican Party platform here. Defend the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, our fundamental freedoms, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. Who's going to disagree?
Yeah, I don't think so. That's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, I like number 8 a lot. Prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and the Middle East, build a great iron dome of missile defense shield over our entire country, all made in America. That is one thing that we do manufacture here in the United States, and that's guns.
Yes, that is true.
You know what? That's the thing, is that if we're talking about bringing manufacturing back to the United States, talk about aluminum and steel for sure. How about some more aluminum and steel for manufacturing of firearms?
Right.
How about if we abolish the National Firearms Act, you'd have a boom in steel and aluminum because more Americans be making machine guns in their closets and in their garages. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Well, listen, I want to say, am I remembering correctly that they also in this section of the platform use the phrase peace through strength?
It might be in like the longer version here, but
I kind of think they do. They use that phrasing. It's interesting because there's in the age of such backlash against Reagan, even on the right, there's.
Well, they borrow from him heavily.
Right.
They're borrowing from him heavily, that's for sure. Next item on the Republican Party platform here is end the weaponization of government against the American people. Love it. I noticed he didn't say, he said the American people, but he didn't say his political enemies. So there's still time for Donald Trump to punish his enemies, right?
Let's be real. If you think that he would not do the same thing given the opportunity, you might want to check your biases a little bit.
No, you're wrong. And I'll tell you why. Because I'll tell you this, he wouldn't go after his political enemies because he didn't do it in 2016. Remember the whole Hillary would be in jail and all this kind of stuff. And then he just let him walk. And then they turned around and they did it to him.
That's true.
Yeah, no, exactly. You're wrong, Chamilia. You're wrong. You're wrong.
We can talk about the motivations for that or not, but okay, he and Hillary really used to be friends. Maybe it's a friendly animosity.
Exactly. Good morning to Alicia Wilder from the Boot Heel joining us live this morning. Nice to see you, Alicia. Next on the Republican Party platform, stop the migrant crime epidemic, demolish the foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence, and lock up violent offenders. Now, everybody knows that we as libertarian Republicans want to end the war on drugs, but certainly the migrant crime epidemic and human trafficking is something that needs to be gotten under control.
Sure. I think that, and this speaks to, I think, the need for criminal justice reform in our system, because we do have the highest incarceration rate in the world. And a lot of those people that are locked up are locked up for victimless crimes. So, maybe we need a little.
Well, that was the thing, because I was kind of beefing with DeSantis people a few weeks ago And I was kind of saying, you know, the things that Ron DeSantis ran against Donald Trump was his libertarian accomplishments on criminal justice reform. So,
yep.
Number 11, rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. Who's going to disagree with that?
I mean, I would leave it up to local government, but okay.
I wouldn't. I actually think that, if, for example, Jay Ashcroft in Missouri, one of our governor candidates, was talking about taking over, having the state control the St. Louis Police Department. That's probably a good idea, because how much longer should we allow St. Louis to continue to descend into anarcho-tyranny?
So I think, and there is an argument when you are talking about the literal life and safety of citizens. That's different. Like when you go into this, I believe it's this bullet point in the platform. If you go down into the details of that, he's really more talking about the architecture and wanting to, you know, make the cities like literally beautiful again, which, you know, I'm a fan of. I'm just not so much a fan of the government controlling that, but I think that we certainly need to institute policies that would have that effect. And unfortunately, in cities like St. Louis, the policies that have been in place there for decades upon decades have led to it's literally being run down and huge beautiful buildings being sold for a fraction of their value. So it's unfortunate.
Next item on the Republican Party platform list that we have here is strengthen and modernize the military, making it the most powerful in the world. It already is the most powerful in the world. So this is the kind of Republican pablum that I look at and say, yeah, you know, typical Republican talking point there.
Sure. The one thing that popped out at me there, though, was the modernizing. And I do think that, I mean, like, I just have no idea if we are using every technological advancement that we can, you know, because I think that's where the future of warfare is going to be, right? It's not necessarily going to always be on the battlefield itself.
A lot of our old stuff is actually getting shipped out to Ukraine as a way to get rid of it. The next item here, number 13, keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. Probably wise if you want to protect the American economy, and it is something that is a sincere threat that we're dealing with right now with, with BRICS and with, hostile foreign nations who want to remove the petrodollar for sure.
Yeah, I think so. Argentina will help us with that, maybe.
Maybe, hopefully, yes. Afuera. Number 14, fight and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no changes to the retirement age. Reality is going to catch up. The Republican platform could say whatever they want, but reality is going to hit no matter what they say.
I think they had to include this, and he has to talk about this like this because that's what they're getting hit with. One of the things they're getting hit with the most, because you know, everybody knows that the day of reckoning is coming. And so the accusation from the left is going to be, oh, well, the Republican solution to that is going to just be to cut all those old people off of their fixed incomes, right?
Next item on the list that we have here is cancel the electric vehicle mandate. Good stuff. Cut costly regulations. Yeah, that electric vehicle mandate stuff is just bizarre, bonkers.
Yeah, no, get rid of it. Let the free market work.
Yep. Cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory. They had me at cut federal funding for any school.
Sure. Okay. So I first read that and I was like, but it is encouraging because when you read the detailed version of it, it does talk about returning control of the school system to the states. And it does specifically say talk about getting rid of the Department of Education entirely. So that's a very good thing. And I did like what I saw in that section, in the detailed section.
You know, there's a lot of reasons to kind of be like, I'm a Republican, but things like this make me actually proud to be a Republican. Next one, keep men out of women's sports. I actually disagree with this one from the misogynist angle, because, as like a certified misogynist, a licensed misogynist in the state of Missouri, it's a rigorous course that you have to undergo of training. I do think that
you got your certification.
I got my certification.
Professional misogynist.
I am a licensed and certified misogynist therapist, and so I'm definitely for women in men's sports because if you really hate women, then you want men to crush their skulls on the field of battle. Give the women what they want in this situation. Men aren't voting for this kind of stuff, but it's like the ladies want the tyranny of the female everywhere, but then when they actually get the level playing field and they're out on the pitch and they start seeing their daughter's skulls getting crushed, and I say this as someone who's about to have a daughter, I think that the women will change their minds after a good thorough drubbing on the pitch.
I think we're starting to see the pushback, and it's encouraging. So I think there is hope on this front.
Good. Absolutely. Now, listen, if adult women and adult men, whoever, whatever they call themselves, want to get into a cage and sign a private contract to beat each other senseless, then, adults do what they want to do. Now, maybe when it comes to, public schools, that's a different thing. When it comes to boys and girls locker room, absolutely not. There's a difference between children and adults. But anyways, I'm being facetious and funny. Next item on the list here, we're actually getting through this, is deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. This is one of those things that probably unconstitutional, right, if they're American citizens, but still funny and would probably produce the same kind of outcome like what I'm talking about with allowing the men and women's sports, in that if we did it, it would have the desired impact that they're talking about here. If you sent the gays for Gaza to Gaza, they would change their minds very quickly.
Yes, and a side note, if you have an opportunity, go back and listen to at least the last part of Scott Fawn's midweek update from yesterday, because he talks a little bit to the Queers for Palestine and the Gays for Gaza, and he also asks Kelton, if he's been gay in Gaza lately. But he gives them a little talking to, a little reality check. It's very good, and they should all listen to it. He tells them they're probably barking up the wrong tree, and they just need to calm down.
You love to see it. You'll love to see it. All right, we've only got a couple more, but we've got about 7 minutes left here, Chamilia. But this is good. We're doing great on time. Secure our elections, including same-day voting, voter ID, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship. You know what? I'm for it.
I mean, yes, that's fine. I don't have real strong feelings about some of this as far as like the early voting. I'm kind of okay with that. However, there's only, what can the federal government do, right? So this is a platform, obviously it applies to the states too, but this is a states issue, and states have to individually be responsible for their elections. And I think, for example, all these people that are frustrated here in Missouri, look at all the other states and see everything that's wrong. And they are powerless to do anything about it unless they want to move to that state or they want to go organize something in that state. But you can't do anything about it from here in Missouri because it's not our problem, so to speak. But it is, that's maybe sort of a downside to being these United States of America. But it is what it is.
Number 20, pretty much just basic stuff, nothing too controversial. Unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. We had the strongest economy that the world had ever seen during Donald Trump's last administration. So who could disagree?
Right. Sure. We are. Somebody said the other day, I can't remember who it was now, but he was like, I'm not sure we're the most powerful country, in the world anymore. And if people are questioning that, that's a problem. And especially on the economic end of things.
Well, especially on the economic end of things, but it doesn't help that Joe Biden has Parkinsons specialists visiting the White House. And certainly everything that we've been seeing the last week has been pretty horrible. Chamilia, is there anything else that you want to share before we go talk to the good Dr. Bob Onder, hopefully my next congressman?
Well, one of the things that I think you and I talked about just briefly, I was trying to bring it up here real quick, before we got on the air, was this issue with the abortion issue in the platform, and also marriage that everybody's hair is on fire about. And this is part of what I like about the platform, and part of what all of those people don't like is that it is less specific, I think, than it was before. And so it does talk about, being pro-life, and it does talk about the sanctity of marriage, but it talks about those things in fairly general terms. And as far as the pro-life issue goes, it talks about that in terms of the decision for that going back to the states and being the responsibility of the people in those states. And I think what people are upset with on that point is that he has said, Trump has said, and basically this is what this sort of implies in the platform, is that there would be no national ban on abortion. And there are a lot of people who have a problem with that. But I mean, if this is a state's issue and, you know, overturning Roe v. Wade, send it back to the states, then honestly, you know, it makes people more responsible for what happens in their local community and in their state. And that's how it needs to be, because even on the right, we have gotten lazy with letting the government fix everything for us. And we think we can legislate people into a pro-life position. And so we've been ineffective
we got to win.
at
We got to win the
persuading.
cultural battle for hearts and minds at this point in order to change the policies on the state level. Chamilia Peterson from Marshall, Missouri. Marshall Field.
Marshall, this is home of Jim the Wonder Dog. So I'm going to try to go to Jim the Wonder Dog Museum while I'm here.
Okay, have fun. Follow her at Rare Chamilia. Thank you, Chamilia, for your time and your energy. We appreciate it. We'll look forward to seeing you on Thursday.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day. Give Chamilia a round of applause. Don't you love it when CJ's on the show? There's a reason why we have her on twice a week. The Wake Up America show is nothing without Chamilia. Well, we're a little something, but we're a lot less without Chamilia. You know, if you haven't already, you ought to think about downloading the Rumble app. You know, once you download the Rumble app, search for it on my channel and follow AP for Liberty directly on the app. That's going to make sure that you get a notification every time that we go live here on the Wake Up America show. Click the link in the description that you can see or pinned in the live chat to download the Rumble app on your phone. It's totally free. If you prefer to watch us on the big screen, it's also available for Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, Roku, LG, and Samsung TVs. All you need to do is search for Rumble. Download that Rumble app, and thank you to Rumble Studio for making this all possible. We appreciate that very much. Thank you, Rumble, for putting us on the front page. 645 people. All right. Well, Donald Trump's endorsement. Sometimes he gets it right, sometimes he gets it wrong. Today, he got it right in a big way. My next guest, someone that you know, could be my next congressman. Please. Dr. Bob Onder joining us next on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Wake Up America. Black justified the military's decision, stating Korematsu was excluded due to war with the Japanese Empire.
Welcome back to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. I'm glad and thankful to have you here. We've got almost 1,000 people watching us live over on X.com this morning. Hi, guys. And looks like we got that sweet, sweet Rumble love with 603 people watching us live at rumble.com today. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Maybe 400 or 500 of you watching us right now probably have no idea who I am, and you didn't even know this show existed until maybe 30 minutes ago. But if you've been sticking around with us since then maybe you're enjoying it. I mean, you're saying to yourself, this is good content. I could get myself into watching something like this regularly. Well, good news. We stream this show live 5 days a week, every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. Put us on your calendar. Click the like button, and then more importantly, the follow button. If you're a regular viewer of the show, you already know to click the like button, but for those who are new, you may not know that in order to find our channel or to get updates whenever we go live, you want to click the follow button on the channel AP for Liberty, and then come back and join us again tomorrow morning. Every day we've got a new theme. I think Tuesdays are the only day we don't have a theme. Mondays are Mondays with Miltimore. Wednesdays, it's Big Brain Time with Judge Napolitano. Thursday is Thirsty Thursdays, the lovely ladies of Liberty. Fridays is Freedom Family Fridays. So it's just every day, typically, we've got something, crazy or fun. And then Tuesdays, it's whatever today. It's, audience choice. But Dr. Bob Onder of Missouri is fresh off of his endorsement from Donald Trump for the congressional office that is located here in my district. I've known Dr. Bob Onder for quite some time. Bob Onder actually was at my wedding, and I'll tell you this, the good doctor was one of the biggest heroes that we had during the coronavirus pandemic, back when nobody knew what was going on, Dr. Bob had joined the fight here in Missouri for limited government. And when that pandemic had hit, nobody knew what was going on. We all had turned to a doctor here in mid-Missouri to answer our questions about the coronavirus pandemic. There is one man who stood tall above them all and said no to the tyranny of Sam Page, who said no to the tyranny of lockdowns, of school closures, of business closures. That man, who is now running to be my congressman, is the true conservative in the race and is now fresh off of his endorsement from Donald Trump. Joining us live right now, our good friend on the show, Dr. Bob Onder. Dr. Bob, welcome to the show and congratulations, man.
Well, thank you, Austin. It's great to be back. Thank you for those kind words.
Okay, so did you know that this endorsement was coming? If not, what was your reaction? Tell us how this all came about.
Well, yeah, Austin, as you know, I've been with the president for a long time. I was a Trump delegate in 2016, a Trump alternate delegate in 2020. We didn't get to do anything fun in 2020 because of COVID. We didn't have a convention. And then I went to Iowa in January of this year as a Trump surrogate. And really, I think my conversation with the Trump team began about January. We knew it was in the works, but let's face it, there are 435 U.S. House seats open every year. Would the president really, end up making an endorsement in my race? I had no doubt that if an endorsement were made in my race, it would be me. But would that happen? So I was just I was almost in shock yesterday when it finally happened. But I just am deeply honored that the president regards me as, what were his words, the true MAGA patriot in the race.
Dr. Bob Onder is an incredible America First patriot running for Congress in Missouri's 3rd congressional district, my district. A highly respected physician and attorney, Bob was a delegate for us in 2016 and has been an incredible voice for MAGA and the great people of Missouri. As your next congressman, Bob will fight tirelessly to stop inflation, grow the economy, secure the border, support our military and vets, protect our Second Amendment, and restore American energy dominance. And then this last part made me laugh. His opponent, Kurt Schaefer, is weak on MAGA. That's all you have to know. Dr. Bob Onder has my complete and total endorsement. He will not let you down. Dr. Bob, did you get a laugh out of that?
I got a laugh too out of your introduction. Back when you and I were fighting COVID tyranny in 2021, my opponent was a lobbyist in Jeff City lobbying for the St. Louis COVID tyrants. So you couldn't get a bigger contrast in this race between someone who is a movement conservative, a liberty-minded conservative who has been with Donald Trump since 2016 versus a Jeff City swamp candidate who actually only got around to showing any modicum of support for our president last month. Needless to say, I think the president made the right call. I look forward to going to Washington, D.C. as a Trump ally in January to secure the borders, to get our economy moving again, to make America energy independent again, like we were under Donald Trump, and shutter the Department of Education and end the wokeness and the ideology in our schools.
Love to see it, Dr. Bob. And it certainly sounds like you're in line with most of the priorities that we have that have been handed down by the Republican National Convention with their platform that we got to see yesterday. Now, you still do have to win the primary. And then, of course, you do have to win the seat this fall. Typically, what happens in mid-Missouri, it being so Republican heavy, is that the primary is the real battle. And then, of course, you tend to win the election, provided that, there aren't any like mistresses or, gay lovers popping out of the closet somewhere. I'm sure that a few will anyway, just because that's what the Democrats do. They're going to make some up. For example, what is it? The old joke is that as long as there's not a dead hooker or a live boy. So you should be fine, Dr. Bob. So tell us, you
I guess
over...
so, or a dog, or a dog and a cat, I guess. Yeah,
exactly. So, Dr. Bob, let's talk about some of the Let's talk about some of the issues here. Getting inflation under control. I mean, you've seen what Javier Milei of Argentina is doing, how he's getting it under control. What is he doing? He's cutting government. I mean, are you of the opinion that the Javier Milei, like the afuera approach, is the right way to cut spending, right? Cut government. That's the way to get inflation under control.
Yeah. Two things. We do not have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. Government consumes more of our tax dollars, more of our gross domestic product today than it ever has been before. That was true in Jeff City, by the way, and it's also true in Washington, D.C. And too many in both the Democrat and the Republican Party have no appetite for containing spending. At the same time, though, Austin, we have to reinstitute the pro-growth policies of the Trump administration. We have to renew the 2017 Trump tax cuts. Renewing American energy independence could make a big difference, both in terms of not only government revenues, but prosperity, job creation, and of course, make us more secure abroad, because we won't be begging foreign dictators for oil if we are energy independent ourselves. But we can do a lot to get the economy going again. But curtailing inflation by curtailing spending has got to be high on the list.
Name the top 3 government agencies federal government agencies that you would eliminate.
Well, eliminate completely, hard to say, but definitely the Department of Education needs to be shuttered. I've been saying that for some time. President Trump is saying that too. I really think there are a number of agencies that need to be reined in because they've definitely overstepped their bounds. First and foremost, the EPA. Carbon dioxide is not a pollutant as anticipated by the Clean Energy Act. See, the reversal 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, of the Chevron case, where courts give complete deference to the bureaucrats because they're the so-called experts. That's nonsense. It's good that the Supreme Court overruled that. But I think we need to do something even more aggressive, something like the REINS Act, where if a regulation has a certain economic threshold of impact, it has to be approved by Congress, actually passed as a law through Congress before it goes into effect. We need to rein in all branches of government when they overstep their constitutional and even their statutory authority. And that's unfortunately a fact of life of the deep state in Washington, D.C. I believe Donald Trump is committed to reversing that, and I am committed to be his ally on that.
Dr. Bob, it's unfortunate that we live in a time when a mass killer can grab a rifle and head into a school or a church and commit acts of terror here in this country. It is an unfortunate reality that it can happen. We do have a Second Amendment in this country. Some people talk about the price of liberty always when it comes to the question of the loss of life of those who volunteer to serve in our military. But I need to talk about it sometimes in regards to the loss of innocent life here domestically. Essentially, the idea is that whenever there is a tragedy here in this country, we should not be giving up the rights of people who have not committed any crimes or done any harms. When the inevitable tragedy occurs, as it has happened in the past and is likely to occur in the future, right? We don't live in utopia. Will you stand strong in Washington, D.C. for our gun rights, even when the left is standing on top of the still warm bodies of any innocent victims of any future tragedies that might come? Because I can tell you, it will make you very unpopular amongst some sectors of the population who think gun control is the answer, especially whenever things like that occur.
Well, Austin, I have always stood for our Second Amendment rights. I was instrumental in the passage of constitutional carry and the Second Amendment Preservation Act. But I will say this about these mass shootings, which are horrible tragedies committed by people either who are violent sociopaths or who are mentally ill in other ways. These tragedies are exploited by the left to try to erode our Second Amendment rights. I would point out that some of their preferred solutions are making the problem worse. You will note that nearly every mass shooting you've heard of in the last 3 or 4 decades has occurred in a gun-free zone. So the homicidal sociopath who wants to commit mayhem and commit mass murder doesn't pay attention to that little sign that says this is a gun-free zone. That makes liberals and gun grabbers feel good, Austin, but it does nothing to prevent the tragedy. And there are countless occasions where law-abiding gun owners exercising their rights to concealed carry have averted mass shootings or individual violent crimes. I will always stand firm for the Second Amendment, Austin.
Dr. Bob, it is quite frequently the case that the most extreme or radical voices in any movement will control the debate. I'm of the opinion that the United States needs to have an immigration system that is in line with a legal, orderly, a system that is in line with national security standards, and to some extent, a merit-based immigration system. A lot of people on the right think we need to shut down immigration completely. And I'm curious where you stand on that one, because I do think that we need border security and we need to get the migrant crisis under control. But I also want a safe and orderly path for people to come to the United States to ply their trade, because I believe that Ronald Reagan was right. You can go to Germany, you'll never be a German. You'll go to Japan, you'll never be a Japanese. But that anybody could come to the United States. And if you accept our way of life and our Constitution and our culture, that anyone can be an American. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that, Austin. On the one hand, a sovereign nation has to have secure borders. Along with the invasion, 10, 20 million illegal aliens since Biden was sworn into office have come record amounts of crime, of fentanyl, and of human trafficking. So we absolutely have to secure our borders. At the same time, we want to welcome those who come to this country legally, both for our workforce needs, but also because that's who we are as a country. But is a slap in the face, Austin, not only to native-born Americans, but to those immigrants who have come to our country legally, that the Biden administration is dead set on not only keeping those illegal aliens in our country, but really Biden's shown his hand, give them the right to vote. By announcing he would veto the SAVE Act, which Speaker Johnson and others had promoted if it came to his desk. How much does that show where the Democrats are? Bring record amounts of illegal aliens in the country and then oppose any attempt at election integrity to try to prevent non-citizens from illegally voting.
If you're just tuning in to the Wake Up America show, and thousands of you are this morning, welcome to the show. I'm speaking to Trump-endorsed candidate, Dr. Bob Onder. He's running in Congress here in mid-Missouri, and we're told East Missouri as well, for the seat to replace Blaine Luetkemeyer. He's a very conservative, limited government candidate who was a hero during the pandemic fighting against COVID tyranny. And we're talking a little bit about his priorities when he becomes the next congressman from mid-Missouri. Just a couple more things, Dr. Bob, and then we'll let you go. I know you're busy and you've got a busy campaign schedule, and I'm sure everybody wants a piece of you now that you're the Trump-endorsed guy. But on the question of the security crisis on our southern border, and when it comes to the human trafficking question down there, I mean, what can we really do? What powers does Congress have to secure our border? And do you think that you can get any kind of Democrat buy-in on that?
Well, sometimes what you have to do, Austin, is leverage what they want to get what you want. So it was just appalling that the Democrats and some Republicans approved tens of millions of dollars for another country's border, but not a single penny for our own border. And a lot of Republicans, unfortunately, went along with that. Look, there are a certain number of funds that are needed for enforcement, to build the wall, but that is a drop in the bucket fund-wise compared to our multi-trillion-dollar budget right now. So most of all, first and foremost, we need the right person in the White House to enforce existing immigration laws. We don't need a whole bunch of new laws. We don't need a complete revamp of the immigration system in order to secure the border. We need to allow ICE and other law enforcement authorities to follow the law. and in the states to assist in following the law. And then we need to do something about the mass numbers of illegal aliens Joe Biden has let into this country. And there's no reason just because you sneaked into our country under Joe Biden that you get to stay.
I love picking your brain, Dr. Onder, and it's one, because we are so similar in so many of our views, and two, because you actually have a brain, unlike our president, Joe Biden. And I find myself in a difficult position here, Dr. Bob, and I wonder where you would go with this.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I think it's dangerous that Joe Biden is in the current state that he's in mentally and is in control of the nuclear arsenal. If he's not in control, who is?
Right.
But then on the other hand, he's our best bet to get Donald Trump reelected. Yeah. So there's this expediency question, and then there's this moral question, legitimate moral question that we have that we're faced with here. Is there a 25th Amendment argument here, Dr. Bob? What should be done in the next several months? What should be done if he actually wins?
Yeah, well, I don't think there's any world in which Joe Biden wins and is our next president. I think the 25th Amendment was made for situations just like this. But the bottom line, it's only 4 months before the November election. We've suffered under this failed, feckless leader for almost 4 years. We'll make it through a few more months, and then Donald Trump will be our next president. It's all going to be fixed in January. So, but I think it's clear. You and I, we physicians hesitate to opine about medical conditions of patients we haven't personally seen and examined. But for any of us who have seen elderly friends or relatives suffer from the thralls of dementia, it's pretty clear what's going on with Joe Biden. He cannot be replaced fast enough.
Yeah, and that doesn't get better, right, Dr. Bob? That doesn't improve.
It does not. It does not. What you can do, and I think clearly was done, not only 2 weeks ago, but 4 years ago, you can temporarily make a dementia patient more lucent by giving them amphetamines, by Ritalin and Adderall, ADD drugs. And I think that's clearly what they did. That's why, of course, Donald Trump called for a drug test and Joe Biden refused. But no, it doesn't get better. And we are in a bad place because not only do you and I and American voters see it, but our enemies abroad see it. I don't think the invasion of Ukraine, I don't think October 7th would have happened if Donald Trump were president. Heaven knows the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan would not have happened if Donald Trump were president.
Dr. Bob, I'll tell you this in closing. I don't like many politicians. I tend to dislike most of them. Maybe a few like Rand Paul and Thomas Massie and a few others that I actually do like, Eric Burlison perhaps. But getting to vote for my own congressman that I actually like is a rare treat. Stephanie and I were talking about yesterday. You were at our wedding. I think you drove 4 hours to come to our wedding all the way on the other side of the state. And that meant a lot to us. Now we're looking at the birth of our daughter 3 weeks from now. So I do look forward to the opportunity to take my wife and my daughter to come see you in Capitol Hill next year. We wish you the best of luck. Is there anything else is there anything else that you'd like to say to our audience, Dr. Bob, before we let you go?
Well, yeah, when you said you don't like most politicians, you said I was about to say you invited one to your wedding.
Yeah.
But look, I'm deeply honored by the Trump endorsement. I look forward to working with Donald Trump to secure our borders, get our economy moving again, shutter the Department of Education, make us energy independent. Our country can do so much better. We are that shining city on the hill that Ronald Reagan talked about. I really appreciate the time and we've got to spend together on this show and your friendship most of all. I encourage your listeners to vote for me on August 6th.
And I'm sure out of the 2,000 people watching us live right now, there's some Missouri voters who are definitely going to do so. I'm certainly going to convince them. Thank you, Dr. Bob. Good luck out there on the campaign trail. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. And good luck with baby.
Thank you very much. That's Dr. Bob Onder. He was a hero during the pandemic, and I will be voting for him. I have to crawl over broken glass. The Wake Up America show is now no longer just a show. It's no longer just a grift shop, right? The forlibertyshop.com. It is now becoming a network. The Wake Up America show just signed a deal for 2 more new shows, which means that it's not just me anymore, baby. It's not just about me, AP. It's about us, you and me. Nothing of march to a different drum. So if you like the Wake Up America show, I think you're going to like what else we've got coming down the pike for you, because we are going to be building a Liberty network. 2 more shows minimum. 2 more if I can swing it. How is this happening? Well, I'll tell you how it's happening. It's because of the investment of our friends over at Preserve Gold. Preserve Gold has worked with us for the last 2 months, 2 or 3 months, and they've said, you know what? This is a beneficial relationship. We like supporting the Wake Up America show. The Wake Up America show audience apparently supports Preserve Gold. You guys have called. You guys have texted. You guys have visited the link that's down in the show notes right now. Or you've texted the word Liberty to 50505. You can secure your financial future right now by making gold or silver, or gold and silver, a cornerstone of your portfolio. If you don't own any yet and you've been thinking about it, now's a good time to text the word Liberty to 50505 so that you can get educated on how to invest in gold and silver. And they're not going to spam you all the time or call you like crazy. There's not going to be this really tough sales pitch, right? They're just going to send you that gold and silver information packet. You're going to find out more about how to invest. And when you do that, you're helping to support the growth of not just this show, but the Liberty Network that's growing. And the name I've already picked out, it's going to be coming soon. Aren't you excited about all those developments? Help to grow the next generation of Liberty content. Text the word Liberty to 50505. Get educated on how to invest in gold and silver to secure your financial future. We've done that, Stephanie and I. We've got our little gold and silver bag that we protect for little baby Hazel when she gets bigger, right? So that she can grow up strong. And if the apocalypse comes, then we can go buy some stuff with our gold and silver, right? Trade for some whiskey and guns. Text the word Liberty to 50505. When you talk to them over there, tell them you heard about them on the Wake Up America show, and thanks for supporting the growth of our Liberty Network. We're going to be building it out. It's going to be exciting. Lots of big news. Text that word Liberty to 50505. And, of course, exit through the Grift Shop at 4libertyshop.com. That's the number 4, libertyshop.com. The 4 Liberty Shop has got all the awesome patriotic merch that you've come to expect and more. Visit 4libertyshop.com. Get one of our summer can koozies. The only good fed is belt fed. Yeah. Here's an endorsement thing. 4libertyshop.com. Exit through the Grift Shop. The number 4, libertyshop.com, where eagles dare. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Big Brain Wednesday with Judge Anna Napolitano here on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericashow.com. Bye, guys. Okay, you can stop arguing about abortion now in the chat.
Expanse of time, a year might seem like a mere moment, but oh, what a year it's been. In September 2022, Austin and Stephanie Peterson embarked on a journey to wake up America. They began humbly, with just 20 souls tuning in, learning, listening, and though challenges arose, like the looming shadow of YouTube demonetization, their spirit never waned. And now, thanks to you, thousands rise with the sun to join them, to listen, to engage, to be a part of a community. So here's to you, and to Wake Up America, for memories shared, for friends made, for the journey ahead, and for never, ever forgetting to rise and freedom. Happy anniversary.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Is the outdoor of your home about as exciting as a library? Then spice it up and unbore your space with our custom metal signs. Crafted with love and a bit of libertarian magic, you can customize your own metal sign at ap4libertyshop.com. So head to ap4libertyshop.com, customize your own metal sign today.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars, ensuring each voice finds its unique rhythm and tone. Are you ready to elevate your voice? Visit petersonvoicestudio.com and sign up for remote lessons tailored just for you. Let's begin this melodious journey together.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's revolutionary roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's patriotic perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks, just pure patriotic pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.